Shalom and greetings from Jerusalem, Jane. I want to start by saying I completely know that my camera is not in the official right position. It's supposed to be this way. But I actually like to have you up close and personal with me, especially after a night like we had last night, a day we had yesterday. I want you to see my eyes and feel my heart in what I'm going to share. Yeah, I look tired and my hair is funny today and I didn't get barely any sleep. I'm going to get back to that later. What I want to share, which is the most important thing, look at this precious 14-year-old boy who was savagely, brutally murdered 2 days ago by Palestinian terrorists. 14-year-old innocent Jewish boy. What was his crime? He was Jewish. He was out watching sheep in the Benjamin area of Samaria in the biblical heartland. He left around 6 in the morning with these sheep. He was going to go and watch the sheep, and sometime later they returned back, but without this precious young boy. And because Israeli Jewish sheep in that area has been attacked so many times by Palestinians who live in nearby villages, they knew something is up. I mean, he would have been back with the sheep. So they started a large rescue and search party from the police, from the military, and volunteers also came, and they were searching and searching until they found him. They were using drones in the air and they found him around noon yesterday. I read a testimony and I shared it on my Telegram channel that the two people who found him said it was cruel, it was horrendous. This young boy, his head was crushed with a large rock, and he had injuries from these. He was literally stoned to death. Stoned to death. Can you imagine his horror, his fear? And now a Jewish family has to bury their beloved son, murdered for no other reason than just being Jewish. You didn't hear about that because we were attacked by Iran last night. But this is equally as important. My heart and my prayer goes out to his family. 14 years old. Another Jew murdered for what? For being Jewish? For living in his own homeland, for watching sheep in Samaria attacked by Palestinians from nearby villages. So I'm sending my deepest condolences to his family. And may this young boy's memory forever be a blessing. May he rest in peace. I'm sending all my love and prayers and comfort to his family. Of course, the Prime Minister was out condemning this, and the army, of course, is looking, the Shin Bet is in on it also, looking for these horrific, vile terrorists who committed. This was an execution. He was stoned to death. They crushed his head. But you didn't hear about that in your mainstream media, did you? Last night I went to one of the hotels here in Jerusalem. I was invited to speak to a group from Norway, the most lovely group of people. And I told them, I said, you're all diamonds. You're all diamonds shining in the sky right now because you are here. Because you are here with all the threats that was going on. And I said, you came here, you're a blessing to Israel, you're a blessing to the Jewish people. And I was with them for a couple of hours and I got to share about my life, my testimony, who I am. And they prayed for me and it was just such an encouragement. For those of you who watched this video, who was there, it was really a big thrill for me. So I came home from that, and then I had not been in my house for 20 minutes, and then it started breaking news. Iran has officially started firing drones towards Israel. You heard me right, Iran started attacking Israel. So Iran attacked Israel, which is a sovereign nation, a sovereign state. We have known this was coming. The Americans intel, the Israeli intel knew that this was being planned by Iran, and when this started, everything was on high alert. Schools were being closed here in Israel, gatherings were being cancelled. We were, you know, stay close to your bomb shelter. The Israeli Air Force was on high alert. They were patrolling in the skies. And then it just went from here. So let me say about 330 projectiles was fired at Israel. The largest part, of course, came from Iran, but Israel was also attacked, fired upon from Yemen, from Syria, and from Lebanon. 330 projectiles, a large part of that were drones. We had surface-to-surface missiles, and cruise missiles and ballistic missiles were fired into Israel. The Israeli Air Force got help from America, the UK, France, and Jordan. Jordan also shut down everything that came into the airspace over Jordan. Israel closed the airspace, of course. The airport was closed. All flights was cancelled. Jordan went into a state of emergency. So thank you, Jordan, for shooting down all of the drones that was heading towards Jerusalem. So according to the Israeli military, there were no drones or cruiser missiles that entered Israeli airspace. 99% of everything that was fired in Israel was shot down. But there were some ballistic missiles that went through, and there was a direct hit at a house near Arad, where in a Druze community, where a young 7-year-old girl was injured with a severe head injury, and she went to the hospital and she had surgery. I think there were about 12 people who were injured from running from shelter, you know, for shelter, or by falling shrapnel. Here in Jerusalem, the red alert siren went off around 3 o'clock, I believe it was, and I shared a lot of videos of what happened here in Jerusalem, especially on my Telegram channel. First I heard one, then I heard two, then I heard three of the loud booms, explosions, and I was like, what in the world? Because I was like, it can't be what I think it is, because we haven't had the red alert. So I started walking to my window, and then the red alert came on, and I just made a short video, as you can hear the red alerts, and the air defense missile system was shooting down over Jerusalem. I shared those videos. So it was a very, very intense night. Thank you to the different air forces who stood with Israel and who helped Israel in this situation. And then all of a sudden, Iran announced that now that was it. It has concluded. And that Israel better not retaliate, and the Americans better not support Israel in retaliating, which President Biden has said America will not. And he's also, the Biden administration is putting a lot of pressure on Israel not to retaliate at all. Let me see. The cesspool of terrorism in this world, the demonic state of Iran fired 330 projectiles at us, innocent civilians in Israel. They can say we were targeting military targets. They fired at us, all 10 millions here in Israel. You think if that had happened to America or any other country, you wouldn't retaliate? It's absolutely ridiculous. Israel has every right to retaliate. The question is going to be when and how. Is it going to be in cooperations with some of our allies? Is Israel going to do itself? When and if and where, and who's going to be the targets? And now, of course, We are approaching the holiday of Passover. It's going to be one of the big high holidays. So there's a lot for the Israeli government to debate, or the War Cabinet, the Security Cabinet. They are meeting now in about an hour here in Israel, where they're going to talk about what Israel's response is going to be. I'm not a real journalist. I'm not a military reporter or anything. I speak from here. I speak from my heart. That's all I can do, because I am here. And there might not have been a lot of material damage. And yes, like I said, there was a young precious girl who was injured. But other than that, there was no fatalities. There was no... And then maybe some people will say, okay, shake it off and move on. But it's not like that. We had just gotten the horrific news of a 14-year-old boy who was brutally murdered. His head was crushed. Cruelty beyond anything. We are still traumatized after October 7. We have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of soldiers who lost an arm, a leg, 2 legs, a foot, filling up in our hospitals. We have 500 soldiers who has been killed since October 7, police officers. The trauma is huge. We still have hostages. How many is even alive inside Gaza? Traumatized nation. And now this happened. And the world is constantly telling Israel, restraint, restraint, you need to show restraint. Why is it that Israel is always being told show restraint, but the rest of the world, if they had been attacked, you better believe they would have done something, and Israel has every right to do it too. So it's not just, okay, that was it, and we move on. What happened last night was traumatizing. Because we are already traumatized, because we already carry all the trauma and stress from all other things, from all the other terror attacks that has been over the years, from all the dead children we have had to bury because of Palestinian terrorism, of all the dead parents we have had to bury, of the 30,000-40,000 rockets that Hamas has fired into Israel before October 7, being fired upon from Yemen, the Houthis, from Hezbollah, from Syria. So this is a nation where I, from my heart, is telling anybody, if you're not here, don't come with your opinion. If you're not here, don't tell us what to do or how to feel, because you don't know. Just be supportive. Stand with Israel and pray for Israel. And I want to say from the bottom of my heart, I'm going to end by saying this. Thank you, thank you, thank you to all the prayer warriors who didn't go to sleep last night, but who went on their face and prayed for Israel. When I spoke to the group from Norway, I said this is a battle between good and evil, light and darkness, God and Satan. When it comes to Israel, it's the apple of God's eye. That's it. This is God's nation. When you touch Israel, you touch God. That's what this is coming down to. And for those of you around the world who knows that, you were the ones who stayed up on your face. You were the ones who called prayer meetings, Zoom calls. You were the ones who called your family and say, do you know that Israel is under attack right now from Iran? Thank you, thank you, thank you. 99% was shut down. Most of it before it even came in to Israeli territory, airspace. So God is Israel's Iron Dome. But then if we didn't have the Iron Dome, could you imagine if we didn't have the David Sling and the Iron Dome? How many projectiles, missiles, drones would have landed and killed people here? So we have God, but we also need the Israeli military. And who is that? That's someone's husband, someone's father, someone's brother, someone's nephew, who's out guarding Israel, putting their lives on the line 24/7, 365 for us to be safe, because Israel is surrounded by all of these enemies. So I'm sorry for a little bit of a long video, but it was important for me to share all of this with you. So now we are waiting to see how is Israel going to respond, when is Israel going to respond, and whatever they do, support them, okay? This is the Holy Land. This is the land of the Bible. It's a fact. It will never change. God's promises to the Jewish people stand forever. Thank you for praying for Israel. Bye.